Hey there, I'm Jamie Smith. I wanted to share with you a quick demonstration of an add-on that I'm calling CF Gated Pop-Up. And this is if you have a page, say you have a page that you wanted to, tell somebody they've got a special code to access, and they need a special code just to access the page, and you kind of want to leave it locked, that they can't do anything on the page unless they enter the special code. This would be what that would, this would be how that would work. So let's run through, and I'll show you kind of what this looks like real quick. And if we just do a quick preview on this, then you'll see what we get. And so take just a second to load this, and you'll see we've got a our normal page behind, and we've got a pop-in in there, but we've got this pop-up that comes up, and we can't do anything on this page. We can't close the pop-up, we can't get around, we can't enter this, we can't do the opt-in or anything like that, but we do have this form here that says, hey, enter your special access code. So now I've been here before, so it gives me this, it pre-fills my secret access code. If I just click unlock, then it says, hey, welcome Avengers, and bam, now we're in. Now we can go in, now we can click our button, which opens the pop-up, so that's not really super useful, but this could, fill in a form, you could play a video, you could do other things. So this is kind of, this gives you that option to basically have a secret code, a controlled page. And so, and then now you have a fully functional page with the pop-up gone. So I'm going to run through real quick and show you how this is set up. It's pretty simple. So we're going to go ahead and edit this page where I've already got it installed. It uses the basic out-of-the-box ClickFunnels pop-up. And while the page editor is loading here. So if we just go and take a look at the pop-up, and we're going to click Show Pop-up. And let's start out first by showing how we can set this pop-up to show immediately when the page loads. So if we go into Edit Settings for our pop-up, and then we want to go to, we can do Trigger on Exit, set to Don't Show on Exit. That's the default anyways, but we'll want to make sure that that's there. And then click on Advanced, and then go to animation. And for the animation, we want to set it to fade in with scale, or you could just do fade in, but you want to have one of these two options. Out of the box, it's going to come in as a timed delay for none. We want to do the fade in with scale, so it's a time delay, fade in with scale, and then just leave these at 0. And what that means is it's going to fade in with scale 0 seconds after the page loads, which means it's going to show up right away. So that's how we set this so that the pop-up comes up right away. And then the next thing we want to do is actually set up our pop-up content. Now, this headline obviously would want to match more with what the actual pop-up says. So you can, you'd want to say something like, enter your special access code now. Something like that, and then, we probably wouldn't want to have that sub-headline, but you could do something else there. And then, headline here above your field. This field is really the only thing that's important. So we want to put this, this is just a basic input field. So in fact, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. And then I'll show you how to start from scratch. So what you want to do is actually input or add a new input field. And so we're just going to grab an input field here. Sorry, I moved my mouse as I was clicking it, and so it didn't enter. There we go. Let's click that one more time. Okay, so now we've got our input field, and then we're going to click on the settings for this. And we're going to set this as a custom type. And we want to set custom type. And then for the custom type, we are going to enter this custom type. We really just need to name this whatever we want. I like to name this something like CF underscore secret input, something like that, just so you know what it is. It's not a big deal, it doesn't matter. It's, you're probably not going to go back and reference it later, but just give it something like that in the custom type. And then you'll want to put your placeholder text. Obviously it starts out as default as your emails here. You want to say something like enter the secret code here, something like that. And then one other thing that you want to do is you want to click on advanced, and where it says submit on enter, you want to have that set to off, because we don't want somebody to hit enter on their keyboard and have it submit a form. If there were an opt-in form on the page behind, it would actually submit that form page, and we don't want that. So turn off the submit on enter because we don't want that. And so that's all we need to do. And there's one more step for this. We click the settings again, and then we want to go to the get CSS info, and we want to click on that. And then where it says input here, we want to change that. This is the CSS title. We're going to set this to CF dash secret dash input. and then click update. And now that's going to name this so that the add-on code that I'm going to show you how to install here in a second, the add-on code knows where to find this input field, and it will do the magic. And so we can just click save there, and then we can close that out. And then the next thing we want to do is actually grab all the code. So I've got the code here. And we want to configure this code first of all. So you'll get this and it'll come up with a couple secret codes. So we'll have, by default it's going to have your code, and then the description is welcome you. That's the little message that shows up below the input field when somebody enters a valid code. So you can set up multiple codes if you wanted to. So if you wanted to give them out to different, different codes and different videos or whatever, you could do that, or you could just have one. So if you wanted just one, you would just take this comma right here, and down to the little square bracket or curly brackets, and you get rid of that. And it's just one code. So we're going to have square brackets here, which means you can have an array of values or multiple code blocks. And then these curly braces give you the definitions for what's inside this particular code. So this one is a set of code and description. You could also have multiple codes here if you didn't need to have multiple descriptions. You wanted them all to be the same. Welcome, thanks for joining, something like that. You wanted everything to say that, you could certainly do that, and then you could actually have multiple codes here, something like that. And you just need to make sure that these are separated with these single quotes, straight single quotes, and then your comma, and then another set of straight single quotes, and then always a comma at the end of the list here. So this would allow it so that your code or another code would both work. But if you wanted to have so that you could have, say, another code, maybe you want that one to say, welcome super special person, then you would basically just have a comma, and then you could really just copy this. So highlight that from the first curly brace down and copy it, and then we could add a new line and then just paste that in there, and then you could go in and modify this. So now you've got your codes. So now we want this another code. We want that description to say something like welcome super special person, something like that. Welcome. Got to spell it right. We don't have to, but it's kind of nice when you spell it right. And then we would just get rid of this another code here so that one is correct. So that's what you've got going here. You just have to make sure there's a comma here and then this extra. So it comes out of the box with 2 in here. You can remove one, you can modify them, whatever you want to do. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight all this code, because that's all you need to do is just configure your codes. The magic, the rest of the code does everything else. So we're just going to highlight all of that. We're going to copy it, and then I'm going to bounce back into my browser here, into the editor, go into settings, tracking code, and then footer codes. And then this code's already installed, but you would probably start out with something like this. You're just going to paste that code in there into the footer codes, make sure that footer code is selected, and that is it. And so now, let's go back and look. We've got a code set for your code and another code. So let's just go test this out real quick. So if you go back in and click save, it's going to warn us about our title one more time, and then let's click preview. And now it's going to pop up and it's going to ask us for our code. If we enter secret, that's not a valid code anymore. So if we hit that, it's going to say, sorry, no such code. We can't go anywhere, can't do anything. It's telling us no such code. Sorry, you're locked out. So, but let's put your code and hit enter, and now it says welcome you. And then it takes 2 or 3 seconds. It does that on purpose so that they can see the message, and then the page opens up, and that's what we got there. Now let's refresh it, and let's try a different one. And you'll notice the little animation there, it fades, it kind of does a bloop, a little zoom effect. So now let's do another code, and notice I put in this one lowercase, because the case doesn't matter how they type it in, because you don't want to have to say, make sure you put it in uppercase and all that stuff. It's case insensitive, doesn't matter. And then they can click unlock, or they can hit enter. I hit enter there, and it says welcome super special person. So the message was different because the code was different. And so now we have a fully functional page. So that is the CF gated pop-up add-on. I hope that makes all good sense, and I hope you put it to good use. Talk to you soon.